Incoming transmission.
The Klingon word of the day is Kortu.
These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise.
So, this is a huge victory for the good guys.
Scotty, beam me up.
Resistance is futile.
Live long and prosper.
Boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings and welcome to the Computer Resume podcast, the show covering the entire Star Trek franchise in chronological order for fans new and old. I'm your host, writer-comedian Mr. Todd A. Davis. If you want to hear the velvety sounds of his voice, just go to his social media and he'll regale you with the tales of the Enterprise. It's Jeremy Larson! Yay! Jeremy Larson!
It's great to be here, Todd.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing really, really good today. It's good. A fantastic evening.
Yeah. So you told me before we went to air that you're in Minnesota.
Yes,
and
I'm in Minnesota.
Here we are in December. How cold is it up there?
It's not as cold as it usually is.
Really?
Quite honestly, we just got our biggest snowstorm of the year right now is just yesterday. And we heard that there was a big storm front coming in. There was going to be a lot more snow in the coming, days or in this next week. But it hasn't gotten too cold yet. But I can always say yet in Minnesota.
Oh, yes. Winter is coming for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually, I'm the youngest of three boys. And first one actually born in the South, here in South Carolina. The rest of my family's from Pennsylvania. So I grew up in the South. We get snow for a day. And then once the sun comes up, we get a nice layer of ice. And then the next day it's back to normal and you'd never know it snowed at all. So that's it. And it always breaks my heart. And I think my wife feels the same way because she's originally from Ohio. So, feet of snow, like a lot of snow.
Right.
And that's actually how we're most comfortable. That's the way we prefer. And of course, around the holidays, you always hope for a white Christmas. I don't know that here I am I'm almost 38 and I don't know that I've ever had a white Christmas. That's terrible. That's sad.
That's too bad. It's too bad. A white Christmas is actually quite calming compared to, a green or a brown Christmas as sometimes we have up here too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, whenever it does snow here, I always, throw on a coat and hat and go ahead and just stand outside in it just because all the noise just seems to go away for a little bit.
It does.
It's so peaceful. It's what here, we're talking about Star Trek here in a minute, but I don't think I'd mind being sucked into the vacuum of space. It's so calm, so peaceful. Like when I remember going to see J.J. Abrams' Star Trek in theaters, which was just dope. I don't know how you feel about it.
Oh, fantastic film.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But that's that moment when that crewman gets sucked out of the Kelvin into the vacuum of space and they cut the sound out.
Oh, it was perfect.
You could hear everybody in the theater just go, oh, and I was the only one going,
Yep. Because they finally got it, scientifically accurate at that point.
That's as accurate as it's been portrayed in Star Trek for sure. Yeah, something about that calm, peaceful death.
Is it calm? Is it peaceful, Todd?
Well, that's if you shut your eyes, and exhale, because we learned that from what movie was that where they were like, okay, everybody shut your eyes, exhale. They had to go from one part of a space station to another. Oh, what movie was that?
Could that have been Gravity?
Might have been Gravity. It might have been Sunshine. No, it wasn't Sunshine. Was it Sunshine? I forget. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh man, there was some. Oh man, that's gonna bug me. And I'm on a movie podcast.
Right.
I can just hear my co-hosts just rolling their eyes like, no, not. what are we doing with this guy? Anyways, so let's talk about Star Trek.
Always talking about Star Trek.
Of course, always. What is your first earliest memory of Star Trek? Were you into it as a kid, or did you come to it later?
My grandfather introduced me to Star Trek at a very young age. I actually got into the point and click adventure game, a really old. It was I could never get past like the first mission, but I would always play that same thing over and over again. It was so much fun.
Nice.
And I remember watching. I think they tried to get me into The Voyage Home at first because it's a favorite. It's a fan favorite, the one with the whales, of course. But when I started really getting into Star Trek, I realized that my favorite film of the old TOS was Undiscovered Country. It's a fantastic science fiction and political thriller at the same time.
Man, I love a good political thriller.
Exactly.
Oh man, I mean, not to divert too far away from Star Trek again, but one of the reasons I love Captain America: The Winter Soldier is because it doesn't watch like a superhero movie.
It does not.
It watches like a spy espionage political thriller, like from the 70s. Like there's car chases and all kinds of stuff. Like
exactly.
And yeah, for them to integrate some of that stuff into Star Trek is just so much fun.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're a TOS guy. How old are you? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 32.
Okay, so you're not much younger than me.
No.
So most guys roughly our age tend to be TNG kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like you're more TOS. Is TOS your crew?
See, it's the thing is that I try not to go between crews either. It seems hard to pick a favorite because they're all so very different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of, the TNG era is kind of like Superman. Mm-hmm. They had so many people who could do so many things, and they were on the flagship. Like they had everything at their disposal. Like it's no wonder they got out of everything alive. It was they had no problems at all.
They had the easy way out.
Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure Kirk was drunk for most of the missions. Just
he had his way.
If he wasn't, Bones almost definitely was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Scotty, that's kind of a given.
That's absolutely a given.
But yeah, each crew very different, and with varying degrees of skills and backgrounds and all that stuff. So I'm getting more into. I find I like TOS now more than I did when I was younger, and I think I feel the same way about Batman, about the 60s era Batman. Max, you can't squeak your toy if. No, go sit with mommy. No, go sit with mommy. Okay, you're a good boy. He always tries to get in on the episodes. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, as I've gotten older, I feel like every era's Star Trek, much like every era's Batman, was somebody's Star Trek or Batman. Mm-hmm. And I think as I've gotten older, I've definitely found more of an appreciation for the older things, especially TOS, where it's easy to say, oh, it was so cheesy. You could see the zippers on the aliens, the, cardboard sets and stuff like that. And you know what? I'll give you that. But look at the writing. Look at the things that they were talking about in those episodes. And it was really ahead of its time, and they were really doing some fantastic things in terms of storytelling.
Right.
So, did you feel that way as a kid growing up with it, or was it, have you, as you've gone through different stages in your life, have you, found new ways to appreciate the original crew?
See, when it comes to the original series itself, aside from the movies, I don't actually. I was really, really young when watching reruns of that show, and now as I've gotten to 30, it was hard to get back into TOS because of all the new stuff that has just recently come out.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm going to give it its credit because it is still revolutionary for its time.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could watch it again, which
Really?
is it's hard. It's very hard because it's my attention span sometimes doesn't match the pacing of all the TOS episodes.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
even some TNG episodes take too long to get to where they need to go.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, are they try to force in too many different plots?
Yeah,
you
and then
you got your A plot and your B plot, and really you could have just stuck with the A plot. There was so much there to explore that didn't get explored.
Mhm.
God forbid they had an A plot, a B plot, a C plot, and a D plot.
Oh,
We've
there's so many
seen
plots
that before.
Yep.
And but I think watching TOS as you get older becomes more of a mental, almost academic exercise of like
yes.
analyzing what they're talking about, what they're really, what's this episode really saying in terms of social, political, economic, government, type commentaries.
Exactly.
That it's less about the flash and all the, razzle dazzle, and it's more the meat and potatoes of like,
oh, for sure,
what are they really talking about? And of course, from the 3 seasons of the original series, once Gene left after the 2nd season, I believe there's a definite shift between those first 2 and that last season. That last season's much, like, as hard as it is to watch TOS sometimes. The 3rd season is definitely the eye roll inducing season of like, oh boy, here we go.
I can agree with you wholeheartedly there.
So you've been in with TOS for the bulk. Then you got in. I'm sure you got into the
TNG
and the
TNG
era.
Wife and I watch TNG almost every single day.
I know. Well,
it's incredibly replayable.
Yes, very replayable. And it's between, honestly, you could just turn it on for the music,
Yeah, you could.
Which I do for my dog when I leave the house. That and the the smooth tones of Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart.
Oh, absolutely.
Talking about things. But did you have much experience, or what were when did you watch Enterprise before I forced you to sit and watch this episode?
No, I watched Enterprise the entire way through. I was incredibly sad of how I think kind of forced and quickly that it ended.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought a lot of the crew worked as an entire unit. Very different. There were new races to be introduced. Phlox is a Denobulan.
Yeah.
And to see the first beginnings of Star Trek when it came to the relationship between the Vulcans and humanity after Zephram Cochrane's flight.
Oh yeah. It wasn't all sunshine and roses like they
it was not.
There was some I dare to say some pretty bad blood, some hostile feelings there for the bulk of Enterprise for sure. And this is 100 years after first contact. So yeah.
And I think that it's pretty funny that we're talking about this when it's actually mentioned in the episode you're going to be talking about in a little bit.
Oh yeah. And that's we're looking forward to that one for sure, because that's the fans have always been very, very vocal regarding this whole franchise. When TNG was announced, it was, if it's not Spock and Kirk, it's not Star Trek. And then, here now it's just kind of like, oh yeah, you can't really have Star Trek without Picard and the Enterprise D. It's funny to see. And then of course the internet is rife with the thoughts about the Kelvin timeline, and of course everything starting
after that.
Yeah, with Discovery and stuff
Discovery,
like that.
Picard, and the lower decks. I honestly don't see the problem. I don't see the problem in any modern Star Trek. It's all been fantastic to me. And if I'm missing some sort of point, you can at me if you want to. I don't.
Well, yeah, and I think everything that they've done is kind of, maybe even if they only set out with one goal of just like, hey, wouldn't it be great if Patrick Stewart came back for one more season?
Right.
It's just like, yeah. And to be honest, after that first episode, there's a part where he's sitting there like scratching number one's head. And he says some line of Shakespeare. I almost. So sorry, I got it so excited. I pulled my mic.
Oh no, I get it.
Cord out. But anyways, so yeah, he's sitting there like scratching number one's head, and he recites some line of Shakespeare. And from that, at that moment, I almost pushed away from the table and been like, you know what, the series could end right here, and I would be completely happy.
It'd be okay.
So awesome.
It's so great. I thought Picard was a masterpiece of a first season.
Yeah.
I always loved the relationship between him and Data, which I know that there are a lot of other ways they could have taken series, and they could have taken the timeline in regards to TNG as a whole. But I loved the mentorship that Picard had with Data. Yeah. And when Data passed away in Nemesis, that was one of the hardest Trek moments for me in the history of the timeline.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I mean, looking at Picard as the father figure with no family, and Data as the forever child who's in a constant state of learning, that friendship / father-son relationship was always so heartwarming, and
it was touching,
heartstring tugging. It was so great to watch, and really hearing the music, the opening scene as the music as you go through the galaxy, and then there's the Enterprise D, and they're sitting in 10 forward playing poker, and it's just like you're in from the first moment.
They hooked me.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, Patrick Stewart coming back as Jean-Luc Picard. We're in. Stuff like Lower Decks was probably a harder sell, but they knocked it out of the park.
Yes,
they really have. And it's, I feel like this podcast is, in terms of podcasting, is doing what they are doing. They made a Star Trek show for the lifelong fans of Star Trek and the people who have never seen an episode.
Right.
Such great characterization, really solid storytelling, and they pack it into half hour. Like they are just killing it.
Yeah, they're killing the game. I can't wait to see more.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you mentioned about Enterprise that you really dug the crew and how they all worked together. I'm a big fan of one of the subject of this episode, Travis Mayweather.
Oh, Mayweather's is a great character.
Yeah, great character. Sadly, I'm not the only one who feels he was very underused.
Yes.
But let's talk about some of the working relationships of some of the crew of the NX-01. Like, it's clear, especially, we're almost through season 2 at this point. And we're seeing a lot of sort of love triangle thingies between Archer, Trip, and T'Pol.
Yeah. I
thoughts
don't
on the love
why.
triangle.
Here's the thing about the love triangle. Like, I get it. They needed some romance to make it interesting. And, but I don't think it should have been a triangle. I think it should have been a very, it should have been one or the other.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that they both offer very different types of relationships.
Yes, they do. Absolutely. How do you feel about Hoshi? Hoshi is a very interesting character in terms of everyone on the ship. And I'll relate Hoshi to, and there is a method to my madness here. Yeah. I'll relate Hoshi to C3PO and R2D2.
Okay.
strictly because I feel like she's the one person on board who's like, I'm actually not down for space travel. I am not an astronaut. I am not a soldier. I'm here to translate things. That's it. So,
and even in that regard of translating, it is a giant and very steep uphill battle.
Yeah. Oh man. She's got her work cut out for her, like from the word go. And I feel like the comparison of her to R2 and 3PO is that R2 and 3PO are kind of like the Greek chorus. We see a lot of the adventure through their eyes.
Exactly.
And I feel like because Hoshi isn't an astronaut, she's not I'll put air quotes around scientist, that she's kind of along for the ride on a lot of these things. Definitely on the voyage itself, but even when she does go on away missions, it's kind of like, okay, and we're also going to send you with Trip and Reed, or Travis and Reed, or we're going to send you with 2 other people because you've made it clear that you're not super comfortable in space.
I wholeheartedly agree with that assessment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
How do you feel about because we really haven't, here at the end of season 2, we've really only had I'll say 1.5 episodes that really explore the character of Malcolm Reed, who I find very fascinating. Of course,
right.
The wife and I have been reading a lot of British comic books recently, so I feel like I'm, and we're big fans of Doctor Who as well. And there's a definite vibe from British culture that is more straight-laced, I'll say. I mean, that's, for lack of better terms, straight-laced, as opposed to Americans.
Yes.
And he comes from a military family, and he doesn't really develop a lot of super personal relationships. We see the friendship between him and Trip in Shuttle Pod 1, which is a fantastic exploration of that dynamic.
For sure.
It's a bottle episode. But the other episode is where he gets pinned to the exterior of the hull in Minefield.
Yep.
And he's interacting with Archer, which is a great exploration of his character again. But we really don't get much after that. I don't recall.
We don't. I feel like Reed was incredibly uncomfortable around a lot of the crew, and the relationships that he did form were special not only to him, but I think to the audience as well. So where we were looking forward to interactions between him and one of those characters.
Yeah, I've seen some fan theories, and I think even some of the folks involved with the show alluding to the fact that Reed was actually supposed to. I think Reed the actor who portrays Reed, Dominic Keating, has said in an interview that he actually played him as a homosexual. And in looking at Reed's. And I wish that concept had been explored on the show at the time.
Yeah.
But because you think, oh yeah, this came out in the early 2000s, that it would have been totally fine. Would it have been? I don't know.
I don't think it would have been well received in that current social atmosphere. I don't think it would have been too well received, and that is only my personal opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think it would have worked and actually pushed things further. It'd be interesting to see if they had explored that. What would the crew social dynamics on Discovery be, knowing that Discovery is the most accepting, most encompassing of all this social orientations. And please forgive me, audience, if I use incorrect vernacular. A lot of this is coming off the cuff, but I think it would have been interesting to see if they had explored that in Enterprise. How would things have been different on Discovery?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, in front of and behind the camera.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that what Discovery is doing in terms of reaching that kind of barrier is really, really good. And it's a soft way of doing it to where it's not overwhelming the audience, to where there are people, they want inclusivity. And I'm all for it. I've always been for that. Yeah. And I'm surprised that we didn't see much of that when it came to TNG.
Yeah.
And I know that was a very different time, but I think TNG could have easily gotten away with, not gotten away with it, more have been able to integrate it into the Star Trek canon.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there were instances where some of those ideas were explored in single episodes, as opposed to, having this character stick around for a season or something like that. Right. Because I mean, from the original series, they've always discussed, social and political and religious and economic issues. I mean, we've talked about that already tonight, that, they've explored all kinds of things, and it was usually on an episode by episode basis. And with the TNG era being more holding true to that episodic nature, there were more two-parters and then some overarching themes that would circle back around later. It wouldn't be to the latter half of Enterprise where we see 2, 3, and some even 4 episode arcs, that directly connect together to create a more serialized narrative. But yeah, so it would have been cool to see that, but here we are with what we got, and it's still Star Trek. It's still fun. It's still enlightening. I think, I've talked with a bunch of folks, the idea that really good sci-fi has always been a mirror, reflecting who we are, and also a bit of a cautionary tale of like, hey, here's what this one group is doing, and that's actually happening in our world, and we need to be careful because it could turn into something pretty bad. Yeah, we may be doomed to repeat it if we're not careful. Speaking again about the crew dynamics and going back to this episode in particular, we get into Travis and his relationship with his family, and here we are a week past Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving for you and your family, stressful? No. I think a lot of family gatherings, unless there is underlying drama that has been happening outside of it, there usually isn't drama. We're pretty close, tight-knit group where it's like long lost friends that they come from a long time, and it's just we get together. It's like we just left. Oh, that's great. That's good to hear. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving can be a very stressful time. The holidays in general, very stressful time for a lot of people. I think the wife and I have really lucked out with our family, with our friends, and that there's a little stress of trying to make it perfect and all that sort of thing. But I think we really lucked out. I actually made a 25+ pound turkey for our Thanksgiving. I'm always the one that handles the turkey. The wife does a great job with everything else. I'll be honest. Yeah, she handles everything else. I'm just there to help occasionally, but mostly stay out of her way. You're giving her great moral support. Exactly. But yeah, it's interesting to see some of the things brought up, the idea of where siblings fall in the hierarchy of a family and how they interact, and then as you get older, how those children interact with the parental figures. I went to see my dad, was a Marine in Vietnam, and my mom's passed away quite a few years ago now, but seeing that, I always remember my dad's hands, like sitting next to my dad, and just his hands being just massive. And then I saw him here, over the holidays, and stood up and I'm taller than him now, and like he feels small when I give him a hug, and I take my wife with me to see my dad, and it's just kind of like I was a little kid. I'm still a little kid, but it's interesting to see that, how those worlds kind of collide over time.
Exactly.
Anyways, before we get into more details about this episode, let's get into this week's recap.
You got it.
There once was a ship, but to the skies. The name of the ship was the Enterprise. Her nacelles lit, her phasers armed, oh blow, you red shirts blow. Soon may the flagship come, bring us Earl Grey tea and Orion rum. One day when the scanning is done, engage and boldly go. Been not 2 weeks from Sector 1 when we were sacked by Romulans. Red alert was called when Captain said torpedoes make it so. Soon may the flagship come, bring us Earl Grey tea and Orion rum. One day when the scanning is done, engage and boldly go. Before our foe had reached the hull, the shields were raised and power at full. Screen went dark, the Romulans gone when they engaged their cloak. Soon may the flagship come, bring us Earl Grey tea and Orion rum. One day when the scanning is done, engage and boldly go.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
UPN next Wednesday, a career of a lifetime.
You're the helmsman of the first Warp 5 starship.
A family in turmoil.
You turned your back on us a long time ago.
This Starfleet officer must choose between them.
My career's the last thing on my mind right now.
A dramatic all-new Enterprise. Horizon. UPN next Wednesday at 8/7.
At the direction of Starfleet, Enterprise makes a detour to a planet passing between two gas giants.
And so on.
To observe the gravitational forces and subsequent volcanic activity. Their new course takes the ship close to that of the Horizon, a cargo vessel where Travis grew up. He requests permission for a further detour to rejoin his family on Horizon, as his father is ill, and he hasn't been able to visit him in 4 years. Archer readily agrees, but bad news arrives when Travis learns that his father died some 6 weeks earlier. As planned, Travis boards Horizon and receives a warm welcome from most of the crew, including his mother named
Oh Nana, what's the name? Oh Nana, what's the name?
Rihanna. He finds that his brother Paul has been named acting captain, but he doesn't seem to be coping well with his new responsibilities. Travis offers to make a few repairs to systems on the ship.
Upgrades.
But Paul tells him to stop, making him feel uneasy and out of place. Soon afterward, the ship comes under attack, and a homing device is placed on the hull. Travis then recommends a boost in the ship's fighting capability, but Paul insists that the safest course is to flee to the nearest port and yield the cargo as needed.
Meanwhile,
Back on Enterprise, Trip arranges a movie night for the crew to watch Frankenstein and invites to Paul. She eventually consents and reviews the film as an insightful view into historical human-Vulcan relations. 2 stars.
meanwhile,
Travis makes his intended modifications without permission, resulting in a confrontation with Paul. The ship comes under another attack from an alien vessel, and Paul offers up the cargo as planned. The aliens demand the vessel as well. Left without any other option, Paul tells Travis to reinitiate the modifications and to detach the command module from the cargo section. They disable the alien ship, the brothers reconcile, and Travis leaves, promising to visit again soon.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what your relationship with your parents was like, but mine was very, you know what, let's just keep him out of jail. If we can get him to graduate high school, he will be someone else's problem.
No, my relationship with my parents is in very good standing. Like we actually just got back from a visit with them over the weekend.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome people.
That's nice. Yeah, it's interesting to know how a kid would probably be on a spaceship, and then to see Travis sitting and having this discussion with his mom of, you know what, this is, I'm the ship's engineer. You're going to have to, this problem that you're having with your brother, you're going to have to take it up with the captain, your brother.
Yep.
And that's really fascinating because, I remember as I got older, probably into my mid to late teens, having a father who, served in Vietnam came with its own special set of circumstances around the house.
Right.
And occasionally would go to my mom and say, hey, why is that? And she would just kind of, don't try to understand your father. You'll waste your life, or basically saying, hey, look, this is what it is. This is the situation as it is laid before you. What are you going to do with it? But it taught me is, eventually kids have to grow up and, you have to deal with issues. You can't just let stuff linger, and a lot of this stuff unfortunately comes out around the holidays, which Thanksgiving is a notorious day for deep, dark secrets being passed around along with the mashed potatoes.
Right.
But, how did you feel about the interactions between Travis and his brother and Travis and his mom?
Oh boy, do I have a response for that. I grew up with 3 younger brothers. And there were times, like even in my late teens, where I was very not, I wouldn't say non-compliant. I think that's the wrong word for it. But I was a very against the national or the traditional way of doing things.
Gotcha.
But every single brother followed him. They did not follow in my footsteps, and they're very successful people.
Gotcha.
No, but like we butt heads, of course, and I could absolutely see that kind of dynamic in any context with any family. It's like, sure, we did get along, but I'm gonna hold a personal grudge because you left and you didn't come back.
Right.
And it sorry, go ahead.
No. Please finish your thought, because you're on a roll, sir.
No, I have butted heads with all 3 of my brothers each of them were a different way, shape, and form.
Wow.
And it's crazy to think that our personalities would come to a clash at such interesting places. And that the same could be said for Travis and his brother. Like Paul just took command of a ship. He's still learning the basics. Travis is coming in and kind of going, well, I could help out here and there. And then Paul just kind of goes, no, I don't want you to help out. You've been gone. I'm not going to accept it right now. And that is a family dynamic that I am sure is in every household in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that not everyone has, or, it takes a lot to have a meeting of the minds, and it doesn't always go that well. I know. No. What's the age difference between you and your brothers, if you don't mind?
I got about 4 years between me and my second brother. I want to say 6 or 7 between that one, and I think 9 with my last one.
Okay, because
if I'm remembering it correctly.
So I'm the youngest. My next oldest brother is 13 years older than me.
Oh boy, that's quite the jump.
And the next brother, the oldest brother, is 20 years older than me. So essentially, mom and dad had us generations apart. And the story that always floated around the Davis household was there was one time where my mom was pregnant with me and had to go to the grocery store and went with my oldest brother. And so when they went to the checkout line, the girl behind the counter saw my mom and looked at my brother and said, I bet I know who's pregnant. And my brother leaned in and said, I bet you don't. But once I was born, I developed a very much best friend relationship with my middle brother, Chris. My oldest brother is Jim. And so when Chris and I would hang out, it was very much best friend brother type relationship, because I was raised in a house of adults. So I watched my fair share of cartoons, yes, but I also watched like Saturday Night Live and David Letterman and the Kids in the Hall.
Right.
So when my brother and I would go places, we were interacting like best friends and brothers, and people thought that we were father and son. Ooh. And they're like, why is that child talking to his father? because we also looked a lot alike too. So everyone thought we were father and son, and it's like, nope, that's not the case.
It's the weirdest thing with my three brothers, though. Me and my second younger brother, we look almost like identical. It's almost carbon copy sort of thing. He is just a little bit thinner than I am, and all of them are taller than me now, and that's kind of it's kind of bad. But my second brother and my youngest brother, they look very similar to one another, which it baffles the mind of how different people can be.
Oh yeah, for sure. This has been a really interesting episode. I really do like this episode. Going into the things that Travis was trying to upgrade and do things like this. You said you have a 9-to-5 working at tell folks where you're working. What you do for a living.
Well, I work in a cabinetry I guess manufacturing facility. Yeah. I'm working in the packing and shipping department for very high-end cabinets.
There you go. So, I'm with a solo practitioner law firm coming out of a career of law enforcement. And, when you're in these companies with boots on the ground, so to speak, you kind of see how the sausage gets made, and after a little while it's like, oh, you know what, if we would do it like this and like this, it'd be better, safer, faster, cheaper, whatever it is. And then you try to bring those ideas forward and try to get those integrated, and sometimes you're met with some resistance. Have you ever been in that position where you're like, you know what, it would go so much better if we just had this program, or if we would do the paperwork like this, or if we would move this thing over here, it'd be so much more efficient? You ever have that?
My previous employment before I had made this move into rural Minnesota, it was working at a wine and liquor distributor in the big city.
Nice.
And there were a lot of issues that came with it. I had kind of inherited the job of warehouse management and locating things within the warehouse. This last year alone, before I had left, they had pulled in another 500 different products coming into this warehouse. Whoa. And I didn't have space for it. And the resistance that came with it was the fact that they just couldn't afford the space. They couldn't afford more manpower. There was a lot of no's coming from my suggestions. And it was tough. And it was one of those things where it was just like, I don't think I can be here if all I'm going to hear is no along the way.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay.
It's frustrating. It can be really, really frustrating.
And then it was hilarious when I heard that they hired 2 people to do my job after I left.
It's got to warm the little center of your heart.
Well, it's not only that. It was just more of I know that it takes a while to get into a company and to learn the ins and outs and everything. I'd been there several years. I knew what was going on. It was okay. I totally get it. I have no hard feelings towards the company.
I am lucky that I got out of law enforcement when I did, and with as minimal psychological and personality scars.
I bet.
But and again, being lucky that I got on with the law firm that I did, where when I came on as his paralegal, the relationship was very much partners instead of employer-employee. I mean, there was a heavy element of employer-employee, to be sure. But, we would talk about the state of the firm and like, hey, what do we do about marketing? And he would, there were plenty of times where it was just kind of like, hey, he would come to me and ask things of like, hey, what do you think about this particular situation? Or, we've got this potential client. What do you think about it, Todd? And I'm like, well, this is my honest assessment. But I was always quick to say, hey, look, it's your name on the shingle, man. Your choice. But like, this is my, I'll do whatever you want. As long as you'll cut me a check, I'll do whatever you need. But and here as we've gone along, I've been with Alex for it'll be 3 years next summer. We've been able to integrate a lot of different things, and I count myself very lucky that I've got the freedom to sort of move around and do that. A lot of control, actually, to kind of put things forward and implement them. So when stuff but again, before that, I worked in law enforcement, where it was just kind of like, hey, this system's broken. They're just kind of like, yeah, we know it's been like that since the 70s, like
very long time.
We're gonna fix this. Nah. All right, fair enough. But I've been kind of on both sides of that, and I can imagine the frustration Travis must have felt to be like, hey, this is a simple thing. If I just, fix, rearrange this here to this here, you guys are it's going to be so much better for you. You get more out of your engine, more out of your shields, all this stuff, and protection. Like, you'll be able to survive this stuff. And for them to just go, no, we don't want it. Like, like it just makes you want to pull your hair out of like,
it's just like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to rekindle the relationship that we haven't had for a little bit, and trying to start up conversation instead of just sitting here on my butt doing nothing for a few days leave.
Right.
Would you rather have me help you and try and assist instead of just, taking it all in?
Yeah, exactly. The last thing I wanted to talk about with you in regards to this episode was the relationship between Travis and the young lady on board named Nora, who they clearly knew each other as children, but things have changed. I think it would have been kind of cool. And I knew this is an issue that they had on TNG, where certain characters didn't get much of a romantic exploration of their character.
And then there were those who got too much exploration of their character to to little to no reward of that exploration.
It's but that element aside, have you ever because Travis is interacting with this friend from his past, have you run across anybody in your life who you knew as a child and then they come back into your life and it's like, oh, we're adults now?
No, I've had that before. It kind of, because you don't see them for so long, you kind of, it's almost a very awkward interaction at first, to which I felt like Travis and Nora did not have that awkward interaction. I felt like it was very, it should have been explored deeper. I will say that. I think it should have been.
It would have been nice to see, that relationship play out a little bit more. Because I feel like we don't really see Doc Phlox gets more play than Travis. But like, I had an interaction with a good friend of mine. He and I reconnected over, this has been some years ago now. I was actually still in law enforcement. And we hadn't seen each other in years and years, probably at least over a decade. And I was like, hey man, let's get together, go to breakfast, catch up. And he and I started talking about stuff and was like, well, hey, come back to the house for, we'll have a cup of coffee. And he came over to the house one time and he walked in and he was just like, oh, you have a house like a real adult. Like, married too.
That's
and a career.
It's sometimes it's mind-blowing what happens when you're not paying attention.
Right. And different, and I saw that working in law enforcement a couple times with different people who knew me in my younger days.
Right.
And then to see me as a law enforcement officer, the shock of that was like, wait, you're a cop now? It's like, Yeah.
Life
took a turn.
There was one instance where I'd moved around a few places growing up, so I didn't stay after like middle school, or if you have middle school where you're from,
right? Yeah.
But after middle school, I moved into like a very, very small town of like 700 people.
Oh wow!
So going into high school with a very limited group of people. And then looking back and trying to find those people that you lost along the way when you're moving away from like such a big city and such a bigger audience, to find some of those friends and go, oh, you changed a lot. Like there were some big things that I missed about you way back when.
Yep. Well, as we do with every episode, we ask the question, who do we blame? This episode was written by Andre Bormanis and directed by James A. Contner. Both of them, their last episode that they worked on was the same episode, season 2, episode 8, The Communicator. That's the episode where Reed forgets his cell phone on a world that is still using dial-up.
That's right.
So the guest stars here, we've got in the role of Nora, we've got Nicole Forrester, and her. This is a rare instance where her first credit was actually as a Dabo girl on Deep Space Nine, and that was you could actually see her in season 3, episode 18, Distant Voices.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then we've got Philip Anthony Rodriguez in the role of Juan. He had a lot of single episode appearances on television until this episode of Enterprise, but then he had some things like 16 episodes of Jake 2.0 in 2003 and 2004, 51 episodes of The Secret Life of American Teenager in 2008, 2012, and a butt ton of video game appearances. And then lastly, we've got the lovely Joanne Pringle as Rihanna Mayweather, Travis's mom. She was in an episode of The Bionic Woman back in 1977. 53 episodes of White Shadow from 1978 to 81, 197 episodes of Generations from 1989 to 1991. She did an episode of Friends, which is my wife's favorite show. So I'll get chastised if I don't mention that she was on Friends. 8 episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful, 9 episodes of One-on-One from 2001 to 2003. And this is her only franchise appearance as Travis Mayweather's mom. And she wasn't, her listings stop at 2014, but she's 76 years old. So I'm hoping she's enjoying a well-deserved retirement.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Miss Pringle, if you're out there and by chance you hear this, thank you for your wonderful portrayal of Rihanna Mayweather, and I hope you're enjoying your golden years. So thank you so much for everything that you've done. So final thoughts on this episode, on Enterprise, on the franchise as a whole, on your experience on the Computer Resume podcast. What are your final thoughts here, Jeremy?
No. This has been a very great experience. This is I think this is my first time kind of guest hit talking about Star Trek. I've always loved it.
You've knocked it out of the park, sir.
I've always loved talking about Star Trek, and this year, as opposed to the rest of my years, has been no different. And to talk about Enterprise, something that was I loved it when it first came out. It was mind blowing. I loved the NX-01. I thought the design was fantastic, and I loved the dynamic of the crew. I thought one funny thing about this episode was T'Pol's reaction to horror movies, as she was extremely hesitant coming into it, and then she goes, oh, you know what, I'm going to recommend it to some other Vulcans to show them about this. And I'm going, oh boy. Oh, that was one of the funniest parts of that episode right there.
Yes. Oh God, I love it. It's so it's really fun to see. And then that she gets all uppity when Phlox is talking through the movie.
You know, we could pause the movie if if this is interrupting your conversation.
Oh man. Yeah, this was such I really enjoyed this episode. And you know what? You're absolutely right. You know, from the from the crew to the uniforms to the ship. Like, I really dug Enterprise. I still do. It got a lot of hate for a lot of different reasons.
Right.
And, I always try to see both sides of the coin. And don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect show by any
No. None of the Star Treks are perfect.
Right.
They're innovative.
Yes.
They're mind-blowing. They push the envelope, but that's because that's what Star Trek has always done.
Yes, absolutely. And the fact that like the NX-01 still feels kind of like a submarine.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
it does.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, like, yeah, this is what's, go watch any submarine movie. It's gonna kind of feel like Star Trek.
Right. Because of how it's not only in the outside, but the insides of the ship as well. Everything feels so cramped. Like when you're walking, when you see characters walking through the hallway, you almost don't have enough space as compared to like the Galaxy class in TNG, where the hallways are extremely wide. It's luxurious. It's
carpet, leather, wood paneling. Like, it's nice.
Yes.
Touch screens and voice activated everything.
Right.
Well, let me ask you one more detail that I haven't gotten we haven't gotten to yet. And you, with a little bit of musical talent yourself, I'd like to hear you weigh in on Faith of the Heart. What do you think of the opening theme song? Boy, that's a heavy pause, sir.
It is a tough question because I know it is extremely controversial on that answer.
Okay.
Because there's a group of people that don't like it, and they feel like it takes away from the entirety of Star Trek as a whole.
This is a safe place.
That's the thing, is that I don't mind it at all. I think it's a nice break from the brass chorus that you find in TNG. It's a nice change of it. It kind of changes the tone of Star Trek in regards to this show.
Yeah.
So I don't mind Faith of the Heart. I don't mind the introduction whatsoever.
Nice. Okay. I will say you're in a minority. In terms of people who have appeared on this show, I think there's been maybe one or two other folks who are just kind of like, yeah, I dig it. I'm in the camp of I don't hate it, but it's not one of those ones that's like, listen to it every morning on my way to work. It's one of those I like to randomly scream it through the house till I get my wife to go, will you shut up about Faith of the Heart?
See, I think I'm one of those people who is a troll when it comes to Faith of the Heart, where it's all in good fun of bringing it up when it's necessary, but it's not like I love the song. It's more of I enjoy it to make other people uncomfortable about it.
Okay, but be honest, because I think you might be one of the first people I've had since they debuted the Archer space doc on Discovery. Which, did you see that?
I did not yet.
Okay,
I'm still kind of catching up with Discovery at this point.
Okay, I hope it's not really a spoiler, but at some point they, they're rebuilding the Federation and. They introduced the new Archer space dock, and there's a big sweeping shot of the new space dock, and they use Archer's theme. And as I'm sitting there watching it, I'm going, okay, two things. One, I can hear the internet melting right now. But the other thought I had was, because it was very well done. It was a very brief moment that just kind of like, hey, this is part of Star Trek past, and here we are. But as they do that shot, I was like, I am not about to cry at this. I will not cry at this.
No, absolutely not.
Well, next week we will be joined by Mr. Lawrence Todd from Star Trek Talk Through Media podcast for our second installment of Cast as Crew with Enterprise Season 2, Episode 21, The Breach, and episode 22, Cogenitor. It is a double episode, folks, both of which are available on Hulu, Amazon Prime, and of course on Paramount Plus. Jeremy, let's talk about some music. Let's talk about what you've got going on. What can people look for on the internet and support?
Well, right now, I'm working on both a Twitch channel and on another podcast as well, the Lights, Camera, Action movie reviews podcast.
Nice.
And that is not mine. That is all accredited to Mike Winkler. He had me on as a guest, and I just kind of became a regular after a while. And it's been a great time. My Twitch channel, I stream every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time at Condiment Games. And we're doing a variety of things. We have community nights on a regular basis where I bring in my moderators so we can play some fun games together. Nice. Other than that, I am on TikTok as well, as you can find me as Mad Riker.
Yes. I gotta ask. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You go ahead.
The origin of Mad Riker, please. I'm very curious.
I came up with Mad Riker as an idea, as like an alternate universe where the Borg won the end of Best of Both Worlds.
Oh, cool.
And I saw Riker like have it like in him to where he was just like, I'm absolutely fed up. Instead of if you can't beat him, you got to join him. So Mad Riker became mad with power in terms of like Khan Noonien Singh energy.
Oh.
So
cool.
So I wanted to it kind of evolved as this year kind of came around, and I haven't really gotten into the character much recently, but I do plan on doing so within the next couple of months, kind of introducing that story of Mad Riker.
Nice. How are you planning on exploring that? Like, I mean, if you don't mind letting the cat out.
Well, in terms of TikTok, because they're very short videos, it's mostly using the memes or the different trends that are going around to tell that story in a different way. And as further and further that Riker goes down this road, he realizes that he is losing his mind through terms of both he wants to augment himself through the use of experimental, I'm trying to think of the word right now, but just superhuman serum sort of thing. He wants to become like the Borg in order to defeat them. He wants to adapt in order to defeat the Borg at its heart. And he is on a straight collision course with Locutus in this universe. And he like there's so many different themes that I want to use with it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to think about this story.
And it's primarily going to be through TikTok.
Yes, it'll be mostly through TikTok.
Dude, I'd stop drilling. You have struck oil, sir. Like I am in. I am so in. And if you ever need any guest appearances, I will gladly, in a heartbeat, whatever you need.
No, and I would definitely if you want to support any of the fellow Star Trek creators on TikTok, you can look at hashtag Trek Talk Crew, and you'll be able to find every single one of them that is a part of that. Myself is included, as even though I've been I've been busy as of late with the move and the new job, but you can find Random Gotham. He's kind of the leader and commander. Captain, I think it's Captain K Coffee. I'm going to look it up, but you can also find her under Eden. There's plenty of other Star Trek creators that have amazing content, and I would highly recommend every single one of them.
Nice. And one more thing I want to talk to you about, like the genesis of your version of the sea shanty, the Wellerman. like walk me through that whole process, because like as soon as I'm a fan of sea shanties, as weird as that sounds, but I am, and they're fantastic. And there's been a few on Star Trek. My favorite one is actually probably from Battlestar Galactica, Gata's Lament. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but you know, as you know, things tend to come in cycles, and I was hearing the Wellerman a lot and sort of fell down a rabbit hole, and that's where I found you. And so just walk us through like like the genesis and how you worked on it, and you know, the final presentation that is on your TikTok, and I found it on Twitter, but like give us the rundown.
So when the Wellerman trend struck TikTok, I was kind of taken back, because the Wellerman, that style of music itself, I hadn't really seen come to light since I don't know if you're familiar with the Assassin's Creed games, but the Black Flag game, ton of sea shanties that you would just be able to play on and on as you sail across the sea. And nice. I had been scrolling through TikTok one day, and I kept seeing parodies of the Wellerman, which was good fun. It was a lot of good fun, and I saw Star Wars like crazy. I saw Star Wars everywhere, and I got to thinking, why isn't there Star Trek? Why isn't it here? I'm going to do it. And in one weekend, I finished that. And I because of the limited time restraint that I had, I was not able to use I think it was 3 other verses that went along with that. Right. So I had an entire another video planned out, and then everyone was just going like that morning that I posted that video. I did not expect such a grand turnout from that. And I had to wait because my wife told me I had to wait to look at all the likes and comments and everything, the duets that came along with it. There are so many talented people out there that added to that core shanty in the first place. And I am so very thankful that I was able to reach out to so many people throughout this one parody that I had.
That is so awesome.
Like in the moment of writing that, I felt like I was on par with Weird Al, because Weird Al is the definite inspiration to me with that.
Yes.
And I do have a few other things back from January, February, March. And then it was in September that I had the idea of making a modern parody that was a Star Trek related. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard the song Fergalicious before.
Yes. Yeah.
I had done that. It is now Borgalicious. And I wasn't able to. I wanted to create the entire song, and I wanted to get other people included on that too. So I'm hoping in the next year I can get that working, because as a one-person music production, it's tough when you don't have training or actual expert knowledge on it. Right. So I'm working my way through it very slowly but surely.
Nice. Oh man, that's cool.
It's so much fun writing things and just adding references from every single point of origin when it comes to that. Yeah. So I'm hoping to continue doing that. It just need to catch on with those trends again.
That's awesome. And where can people bother you directly on the internet?
TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. You'll be able to find me at condiment_games.
And I am at Mr. Todd A. Davis on all of the socials. From all of us at the Computer Resume podcast, thank you so much for listening.
And thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here. And I'll see you in 10 Forward.
free to send us your subspace transmissions to computerresumepodcast@gmail.com or at Computer Resume on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The Computer Resume podcast was created and produced by Mr. Todd A. Davis. Our logo was designed by Will Martin and Justin Bishop. The opening theme was produced by Justin Bishop. Our outro music was provided with permission by Drone Node. Additional music was provided by Mr. Todd A. Davis and Gary Horn. And I'm Kat Davis at that.darn.cat with a K on Instagram. The Computer Resume podcast is part of the Slice of Fried Gold Network. Hashtag LLAP. We'll see you next time.
Going through a Star Trek. We're doing Star Trek stuff in space. We probably got some phasers and shuttle pods, and we're gonna find a brand new race.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?